So with my music video, I looked at 7 points. 7 points of Andrew Goodwin's terminology. The first one is establishing the relationship between lyrics and visuals within the music video, which I did very well, and there's a good point and a bad point. Good point being that the music video went together, people could understand it and understand the emotion that I was going for, and know that it was about long goodbyes, about sadness, about somebody leaving the situation, a couple situation, a cat dying or grieving. People could pick up on those emotions through the visuals and the music. Goodbyes. When they talk about I see your eyes, for example, I cut to eyes, animating eyes, teardrops, sadness, that sort of thing, relating to eyes because it's a sad song, which then goes with the music and visuals, which is another Goodwin terminology, where they also go together. As you can see here, this is the example where the lyrics say something to the effect of "and your eyes" or "I see your eyes", and it links with the lyrics and the visuals because there's eyes and there's eyes on the screen, so the audience can decode the construction I made of these eyes, these doodle eyes. And then relating with the music and visuals, the music is quite sad because it links with the visuals, quite low, but it's still a medium tempo. It's not like something like a ballad or anything like an R&B where they would have maybe a close-up or an extreme close-up of somebody crying to really engage some big emotions, where mine is quite distant, quite creative, and it's more of an unleash of emotions, more of a metaphoric response, which links with the audience, the target audience, which I said before would be a creative artist themselves maybe, or maybe a t-shirt maker. However, there is a bad point about that, is that with considering animation and this music video in particular, I think it was very self-contained. It was almost like I put all the animation into a box, and that little box contained everything and kept everything under control. Really, I think it possibly without the music, it could have gone wider. In terms for the band, in the way I challenged those sort of things, is that I built up textures. I made it quite different to, say, recording on film the story happening, a cat dying, relationship breaking up, which you see in very many R&B. Example 2 is towards the end of the video where the lyrics state "let go". For me, that sort of engage a huge unleash of emotion, so the audience would feel quite happy at that point, even though it's quite a sad song, or feeling that it's a quite sweet music video, rather than really sad. Again, comparing it to another genre like R&B, where maybe it would all end quite sad. Ballads, say from Beyonce, for example, that sort of heavy deal of emotion, real life emotion, which relates to the audience on a head-to-head level, where mine's very creative, so there's this huge distance, but people can still relate to it in different ways, sort of a specific way, as Beyonce's ballads would, for example. So music and visuals, it's the end of the song, a lot of guitar, a lot of drumming going, so I thought I would create an animation clip which is quite quick, so I did it for about 4 frames, I think maybe a little bit more, can't exactly remember, but it did it so they were jiggling about a little bit, very stilted, flickery, flashy sort of sketchbook style, like you would flip through a piece of paper, that sort of effect. Towards the end, like a huge unleashing of emotion, which again the audience can deconstruct as happiness or as a sweetness. So the band wants to relate to somebody, to touch to somebody. They want to promote their emotions, their feelings, their ideas, and what they want. And what they want to give from themselves. My genre is indie pop, and as I said before, the target audience would be creative people, skinny jeans, sunglasses. So, with the music video style, I wanted to build up textures, build up sort of creativity, a metaphoric music video for the band, so that they have this very creative, rustic feel to them. They have that sort of power of artistic individuality within them, so they can go to the audience, fans, would then understand, relate to emotions on a deeper level, you could say, or a metaphoric level. Of all the great romances I wish. So the particular style I went for was very creative. I think if we go back to the music video where it's an indie pop and they are dancing on treadmills. But then again, that's very creative. They were wearing skinny jeans then, but they were dancing in a choreographed way. But they were challenging it, doing something different, creative, funky with indie pop music. For example, I don't have the band or the singer in the music video. I guess in a way that's challenging it, so like I said before, I'm conforming and I'm not conforming to it. I wanted to have close-ups of the animation, where there's some drawings of the side profile of the female, close-up or extreme close-up of an eye. So I do have close-ups, but not necessarily of the band, so it's challenging because I'm rather looking at the emotions rather than literal senses, which relates to an audience on a much deeper level, preferably creative ones, as I said before, because they can pick up on those sort of things. This then leads me to star image. In this case, it is a Jamendo track, so I don't necessarily know the rest of their music and their star because they don't really have any music videos or anything like that. But going on with their music and indie pop style, I had to then create my own sort of image of them that would be them in real life, that I would be promoting. So because I got this very creative style, a very creative, iconic figure of this group, I therefore ran that through my digipack, ran that through my magazine ad, using same textures, things that people can pick up on. For example, colours, so the colour palette, the browns, the textures, those sort of things, the blacks as well, and even the overlaying of images on top of like a collage. People will pick up on that as well, and so the audience would then recognise that the star vehicle. So this then links to the demand of a record company with lots of close-ups. So we could say Lady Gaga, she has lots of close-ups of herself. The record company wants this, so they could release sell her a lot more, sell her quirkiness, and the audience picks up on these things. If we look at Poker Face, for example, a lot of close-ups, a lot of her doing the usual, and people pick up on those sort of things.
Indeed there is. I wanted to break down the representational values of women and men in this music video. I did this with stick figures. I mean, what would you see as a conventional woman? Well, there are many different types of women, many different stereotypes of women. Creative, very expressive. As you can say, that if you go to Norris School of Arts, you do see quite a lot there of young girls dressing very outwardly and made lipstick, very retro. I didn't really want to do that. I think there was two problems here. It was to be too complex to draw clothing, long hair, and add the detail, and that will be required to time as well. So I did Stickman, which goes along with the rest of what I'm doing, the rest of the themes that I talked about earlier. The next question was a simple one. How does the audience differ between a girl character and a boy character? I chose curly hair, sort of long hair, and the skirt. The skirt really was just to add that touch of femininity, rather than looking at the Benny Benassi, Satisfaction remix, where they are quite exposed, and even with Stickmen, I could draw two circles for breasts or something, which I didn't. So there are things in animation that I had to think about. An example here would be the beginning of the music video. How can you establish from the top half to the bottom half of the man and the woman? Well, quite easily, the woman is sitting there with curly hair. I would say then with curly hair. The other one has no hair. She's more in focus for me in particular because she's moving more as well, and there's more going on that bottom bit and the top bit, and the reason being is because I want you to focus on that bottom bit, on her sadness. And in some respects that is voyeurism. We're looking into something, and it could be seen as many ways, creatively looking into somebody's sketchbook. So what they're sketching this woman crying over a laptop, or we can see it through looking through a window, saying that the animation is real life, and we're looking through a window. So there are aspects there of voyeurism, though it's really quite distant. Like I said before, it's not like it would be like a Beyonce Halo video where you see the very intense motion, the bright lights in between her face showing sort of holiness, just huge amounts of emotion, whereas it's quite distant but you can still relate quite fast.